Hey, Isaac.
What?
Did you see the joke I posted about my spine?
No.
It was about a week back.
Oh, man. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Engaged Family Gaming Podcast. This is episode 196, and I am your host, Stephen Dutzman. As always, this week I am joined once again by my co-host, Amanda Farrow, the Princess of Power, and editor-in-chief of SuperParent.com and GamesDaily.biz. This week we're talking about video games. Amanda, I have missed you so.
I have missed you too. It has been literal weeks since we've talked. We text every day, but I haven't heard your voice in like a bajillion years.
I know. And well, there is one solution. You could download my podcast and listen to it. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to criticize.
I meant talking to you, not listening to you on the podcast. Of course, I've been keeping up with the podcast.
Okay. I'm just saying. But it's been weeks, not because we were fighting or anything, but because you were.
We don't feud.
We don't. I mean, and that's good. We don't. But here's what happened. Here's my understanding. You basically went to LA, stayed there for a week, working very hard, running an event for GameDaily.biz, or for Game Daily. But GameDaily.biz was involved.
It was for Game Daily Connect.
Game Daily Connect.
Our event series.
And so you were working very hard, and were likely very frustrated because you were working very hard inside Disneyland.
Oh, I went to Disneyland as much as I worked.
Okay, good.
So
okay,
fine.
All right, good. I was. This is why it's good that we talked, because I would have been losing my mind. Okay, and then you left there and did not come home.
No.
You went immediately to Seattle for PAX West.
I did not pass go. I did not collect $200. I went immediately to PAX West.
And proceeded to do PAX West things. Including doing remarkably well at Mario and Sonic at the Olympics.
I would have had it. I got screwed on that last dive.
Yeah, you shouldn't have picked the random one. That was not a good call. I was
a crowd pleaser.
I was screaming at my phone while I was watching you.
I was so upset.
I was like, Amanda,
don't the whole thing.
I believe you. If I was there, I would have coached you.
I know. You would have shouted at me from the audience. Don't be
take
stupid.
the random one. Keep it simple, and that's fine. You know what? Next year I'll be there.
I know you will.
Maybe I'll be a competitor though, but I'll still be rooting for you. You would have to put my name in the hat in the ring and talk to your friends. And then you still did more stuff, because then you came home and had to catch up on 2 websites worth of work while you were gone. So and you got sick. Meanwhile, I've been home, like football season started. So I'm feeling super under, I am not as cool as you are. And that's, and because, I've just been doing nothing, but, we got a ton of video game stuff to talk about, because while you were gone, while you were away from the office,
my out of office fly is a lot of stuff happened.
Yeah, literally, damn. So, first, I thought, let's go around the horn, because we have 3 games to talk about today.
Yes.
And 2 from me, 1 for you. And I think people will be interested to hear it. I'll start with 1, and then you'll go. I'm going to start with Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, because I bought it while you were gone.
I'm so happy for you.
Now, I have been playing it solely co-op with my 13-year-old son. And I will not play it without him. I've also been playing with, intermittently other kids, but at the very least, always co-op with Evan. They're currently without screen time for a little while because of some shenanigans, but that's going to be over soon, and then we'll get back to it. Guess what? It's not great. It is not going to be anyone's game of the year. It is, but you know what it is? It is good enough. And I think in 2019, good enough in a game that includes Spider-Man and Cyclops and Iron Man and Doctor Strange and Captain Marvel and a bunch of superheroes that I have no idea who they are, is good enough for me.
It does the trick. I mean, it's a solid 7.5, I think. Anyway,
I think it's perfect.
7.58, I guess, somewhere in there. It's not anywhere near a perfect game, but it's got chops.
Yeah.
And it's enjoyable enough.
Exactly. Here's what it does. So, it sets expectations, and it achieves those expectations. And I think that's like my favorite part about it. Like, this game does not come out and be like, check us out. This is The Last of Us. And no, it doesn't do that. It starts off being a stupid Guardians of the Galaxy story. And, it's just good. So this is my official commentary on this. If your family enjoys the Marvel Cinematic Universe in general, and then this is the perfect game. Like, sit down, 4-player co-op. It is easy because even the easy mode is bananas easy. Like, hit a button. Person who's never played a video game can probably get there. But you can ramp up the difficulty, and there are challenges, so even your more seasoned gamers will find something. There's a character for everybody. It's great. And if you want to play it on easy mode, just be the Hulk. Because he's the Hulk. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. This is going to be one of the top of our holiday gift guide this year, because it's like, if you like, because this is one of those, especially if you got, a bunch of kids always at your house. This is one of those four kids can play this game and just wreck face.
What are you saying?
I'm saying that this is perfect for families that have lots of kids in their house. For one reason or another, be it if they have a big family or two families that like became a big family, or if you just happen to be the place where everybody goes after school, you know what I'm saying. Or if you're just a bunch of comic book dorks. Also, Cyclops is in this game for free,
which is 100% your jam.
Yes, 100%, and Colossus too. And you know what? I like him too. Not as much as I like Cyclops though. So that's Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. It's so cool. It's really stupid though. Be ready for the stupid, but it's stupid in all the best ways. It's a Switch exclusive, by the way, and I know there's some people complaining about that, but Nintendo published it, guys, so they are under no obligation to put it elsewhere.
Right, though.
We live in a weird world, though. Who knows? But Nintendo published it. This is a Nintendo game. The downside of that means the price is probably never going to go down.
True.
But you know what? Black Friday's coming soon, and I bet you'll be able to find it for 20% off or something like that. Grab it when you can. This is a great deal. Amanda, you've been playing a game that I have heard about but never seen called Heave Ho. And I would like you to tell me and our listeners what in the world this game is.
Heave Ho is really hard to describe. It's one of those games where it's like this bananas party game that has no business existing at all, let alone being enjoyable and fun. And it's somehow both of these things. So you play like this paint-filled balloon with arms and like a wacky face, and you get to customize your wacky-looking paint balloon.
Okay.
And the goal is that by using the two bumpers on your Joy-Cons or on your controllers or whatever, those are your hands. So you got your left hand, you got your right hand, and that's how you navigate the world. So you hold on to this other paint balloon or the other paint balloons in this particular level, and the goal is to get from one side of the level to the other. And as you go, it gets progressively more difficult as you go down the line. So you have to like dodge spikes, and you're not actually able to, get into, like, in the earlier levels, there's this little U that you kind of fling yourself into as a team. Later levels, you have to fling yourself onto a rope, and one of you has to grab onto it. So it's a dexterity game, and it becomes really difficult really fast, but it is hysterical as a party game. Like, playing it with kids is amazing. Playing it with adults is hilarious. Everybody has a really good time. It's fun to screw the other players because when they fall off, they explode into like paint, and paint goes everywhere.
You know what?
Um,
I remember seeing this game, and here's what. So I remember seeing this game, and the demo that I had. Tell me if I'm crazy. The demo that I had, wasn't it that all the demo that they showed at PAX, all the balloons were pink, so when they splatted, it looked like blood, and you were like, "Nah, bro, they're not blood. It's
yeah,
paint."
yeah. In the trailer, I think it
I
was.
think I remember that, and
Yeah,
you're
and I
telling
said,
me to
don't
chill
worry,
out.
it's not bloody. It's not blood. It's not violence. It's just paint. They're
Yeah,
a bunch of paint
because they're
balloons.
paint balloons. I get it. This feels like this is gonna be a walk, but this feels to me like Snipper Clips, Runbow, and Quap all like thrown
Uh-huh.
together.
Entirely.
Did I just
Absolutely entirely.
describe it all?
Really did. I'm really proud of you. You've
I'm
never played this game and you described it
To be
perfectly.
fair, I was watching the trailer while you were talking. I can multitask because I wanted to because it sounded so familiar as soon as you said paint balloons. I'm terrible at names, just like I'm terrible at titles. So Heave Ho, yeah, you should have mentioned if you had said that it was a Devolver game at the top, I would have been like, oh, so it's weird.
Oh no, it's entirely bonkers. It is a bonkers strange game from Devolver Digital. And if you've never played a Devolver game, I am both delighted because you get to experience a Devolver game for the first time, and I'm very sad because you've never experienced a Devolver game. They're a
Devolver is great.
fantastically bizarre indie publishing label, and they do amazing work. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they do some weird stuff. It's great.
Oh yeah, no, they're totally crazy.
They did. Oh man, what's the game? I mean, they've done a ton. The one I want to talk about is the roguelike Zelda-like where you can turn into a Power Ranger. The Swords of Ditto.
Oh right,
They did
Sword
the
of
Swords
Ditto.
of Ditto, which I adore. And I liked it even more once I figured out how to play. The first couple times I played it, I had no idea what I was doing. Once I grokked it, the game got even better. So that's Heave Ho. It's a Switch exclusive right now.
No, it's actually on
Oh, it's
Steam
on
as
all
well.
of the. Oh, it's on that. So that means it'll eventually be
Yeah.
on all of the things.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
that
It is
is.
extremely good game, and it is so hilarious to play. So if you are looking for something to do, on a lazy Sunday afternoon, Heave Ho will
All right.
get Betty in stitches.
It sounds great. Sounds great.
It
I
is
will
great.
have to play it. All right. So here's my second game, and the
Mhm.
reason this is going last is because this game is mad old, guys. And we'll talk about this because the reason I am playing this is a news thing from later. But I want to talk about Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island for the Super Nintendo. Um,
Awesome.
which I am playing on my Nintendo Switch. And we'll talk about that in a little bit because that's relevant. This game is really damn good. I had never played it.
It is an extremely good video game.
So, huge blind spot for me as a classic gamer who loves platformers. This game just happened to come out. Like, I mean, obviously it was a very late Super Nintendo title, so I had already moved on or something. I don't know. And I had been meaning to play it forever, but like, cartridges are hard to come by. And I've watched plenty of like speed runs on during like games done quick, but this game is really good. It is way harder than Yoshi games are now. So like my daughter picked it up and tried to play. And you can probably hear her in the background because it's homework time. So I apologize for that, everyone. So she tried to pick it
Don't
up.
ever apologize for Maggie.
It
She's
didn't.
just the cutest little peanut.
She is great. But it didn't work because it was hard, and she was used to New Yoshi, which is kind of like a baby game. Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island is the
Does
opposite
not
of that.
mess around. That
No.
game does not mess around at all.
I kept being
It
like,
throws you at the deep end and says
Yeah.
swim.
yeah. And so I was playing, and I am terrible at video games. However, if I were to pick a thing that I'm kind of good at, it's platformers. I'm not like Super Meat Boy good, but like I'm good. And this game beat me up. And my oldest was watching me, and he's just like, oof, oof, oof. And I'm like, man, I can't. I mean, if you want to pick up the controller, you can play this old school game. And he didn't, because he's a coward.
Oh, so
Um,
he just wanted to make fun of Dad.
oh, he definitely wanted to talk trash. He's 13, so making fun of Dad is like the thing. Um, and he's gonna listen to this, and he's gonna hear me call him a coward, and it's fine. I don't mean like an actual coward, but a video game coward. That's an okay thing to say. Um, so Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. That's a good segue. Because you might be wondering, what's the Super Nintendo game doing on the Nintendo Switch? We're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna come back, and we're gonna talk about how that got announced.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Hey everybody, this is Steve, I'm the host. If you like listening to this podcast, you probably like some of our other content too. You can find that all over social media, so make sure to head over to facebook.com/engagedfamilygaming. Perhaps you might like to see some stuff on Twitter by going to twitter.com/EFGAMING, or maybe you just want to head on over to Instagram and look for Engaged Family Gaming there. See you later guys, bye now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to episode 196. It's time for the big topics. And the first big topic is, while you were gone, they just decided to have a Nintendo Direct. They were like, oh, man is not at the house. Get out. And let's do it.
Like Mom not being home, let's have a party.
Let's have a party. And man, did they. Because this was a 40-minute Nintendo Direct. They lied to us big time because they said that it was just going to be about Luigi's Mansion and Pokemon. That was it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, cool. And I was like, man, 40 minutes. That's going to be deep dive time into Pokemon, right? Maybe they'll show us the evolutions or something, which they still haven't done.
No.
By now, we have known.
Oh,
By
yeah.
now, for Sun and Moon, we knew. So they're tormenting us.
They're poking at us at this point.
Yeah.
They're just being mean.
They're just, it's fine. But so they did. They showed us they showed us 3 minutes of information about Luigi's Mansion. 3 minutes. And it's fine. Great. It's coming on Halloween. My wife is mega hype. My wife is Luigi's Mansion fan number 1. Believe it or not.
That is excellent.
She's very much into Luigi's Mansion. And they showed us some cool information about Pokemon. Most notably that you have a curry dex and that there is a cooking mini game inside the Pokemon. Sure. Great. You know who loves that? People who write wikis for larger websites, because cooking wikis do great traffic. So I'm sure the IGN Wikis team. I'm sure the IGN Wikis team immediately started writing it.
I'm sure.
Like freaking Miranda Sanchez lost her damn mind because it was Pokemon to begin with, and then she immediately started writing a wiki about something that wasn't even a thing yet. Yeah, I would have done the exact same thing if I had a wiki. And it's cool. Right? Like, they showed us some cool new Pokemon, including a ghost tea set. Sure. It's not a trash bag or a ghost sandcastle. It's a tea set now, so it's cool.
It's cool. I like it. I like the tea Pokemon.
So those were the things they told us about. And then there was the other 30 minutes of Nintendo Direct. So, superparent.com was so kind as to give us some of the highlights. Thought we'd go through some of it. We had a Smash Brothers Ultimate update. Most notably, Banjo-Kazooie came out that day, which was very fun for those that... if you bought the Hero Pass, which if you're a Smash fan, it's probably something you did. As soon as it was done, you were able to go download your Banjo-Kazooie. They actually had a video, kind of like what was done for Hero, which was just a pretty casual live feed of Sakurai showing us how Banjo-Kazooie works. And Amanda, would you believe that we live in a world where a Nintendo executive, he's got to be an executive. Is he an executive? He's a high up at Nintendo. Sakurai, he's a big deal. Explicitly told people during a Nintendo Direct to buy a game on their Xbox and play it. We live in a world where that happened. If I told you...
That doesn't surprise me.
If I told you that at the beginning of this year, that during a Nintendo Direct, they were going to tell you to play an Xbox game, would you have believed me?
No, probably not. Also, Sakurai is a director. He's a game director.
Okay.
So he's not an exec. I needed to make sure just in case, but
right.
He's not an exec.
Well, you're an actual journalist, so the facts matter to you.
They do.
As far as I'm concerned, he's the Smash dude, so he's bigger than an executive to me.
He's the Smash guy, therefore.
I mean, he's the Smash guy. So,
I can understand.
They also announced that the dude from Undertale is a costume that you can buy.
It's really interesting. Bold move.
I mean, listen, it's a DLC. That DLC is 75 cents. And it includes a costume for your Mii Fighter that basically makes your Mii Fighter into Sans from Undertale. I'm pretty sure that has been bought 1 million times already.
Yes. 100%.
And I'm pretty sure, I mean, I don't know how to make games, but I bet you they probably spent 50 man-hours making that. I don't know about you. Sounds like a profit to me.
Mad money.
I saw a video posted on Twitter that was a live feed of the Nintendo store, because you know how the Nintendo store in New York has people in for the directs, and when that got announced, the place went bonkers. There were people jumping up and down, hugging each other. Like, I have never played Undertale. It doesn't sound like it's my jam.
It isn't. I don't think it is. We can have a separate conversation about Undertale because it's just not for me. It tries to be genuine with its emotional connection to the player, but it just comes across as saccharine. So I'm not a fan.
I appreciate that it makes a lot of people happy, and that's what matters to me.
Yeah, exactly.
And it made Smash a lot of money in like a minute. I'm pretty sure that it wasn't Banjo that crashed the eShop. It was Sans from Undertale.
Yup.
So next, they announced a free-to-play Kirby game, Super Kirby Clash, which we actually have played a bunch of in this house. It is basically Monster Hunter with... Oh, Evan disagrees. What is it? Would you like to come talk into the microphone?
Yes, I would, because I want to argue with you because you're wrong.
Okay.
Wow.
You have 4 people, and you're all playing Kirby, right?
Okay, so that obviously
it's... fight a boss, and you get stuff. And that's like...
So in Monster Hunter, you get together in groups of 4 people, and you fight giant monsters, and you get stuff.
Oh.
In what world am I wrong?
I don't know.
Get yeeted on, as the kids like to say.
Wait. No, it's Kirby.
Okay, well, it's Kirby. Okay, alright, go dab in the corner. He's...
Like, it's Kirby.
I'm working now, thank you. Okay, so it's not actually Monster Hunter, but it plays very similarly. You get in a group of 4, you pick classes, you equip gear, you fight monsters, you get stuff, rinse, repeat. Well, of course, it's a free-to-start game. You pay... and you can buy virtual currency. That's the only thing that I dislike about it. But
I mean, this one is more giving with the virtual currency than the 3DS one.
Yes. So they're
a
little bit more generous, but at the end of the day, they also have a way, apparently, like there's a $40 macro transaction that gives you enough money, like in-game currency.
That's okay.
So that basically is like buying the game, because it gives you enough that it is virtually infinite, so you basically are buying the game. So rather than making it so that things don't cost anything, they basically just give you infinity monies. Do I think that's perfect? No. Do I think it's cool that I can fight a boss as the healer while my 3 kids beat up a Kirby boss? Yes. And I'm willing to put up with some of it. It could be worse. We could be playing the My Team mode in 2K20. Don't get me started. I podcasted about that on the way to work this morning, actually. Then Game Freak finally gave us more information about Little Town Hero, and I think it looks adorable. Have you seen anything about Little Town Hero?
I have not seen a darn thing about
Okay.
Little Town Hero. Tell me everything.
Okay, well, I will refer some of the information from superparent.com, as gave us a little bit. It's coming October 16th. It's $25. That's the one thing that no one has ever mentioned. Like, through all the marketing, no one said that this was not a full price game. They heard Game Freak, they saw RPG, they just assumed that it was going to be a $60 game. So when it came in and they were like, so it's an RPG where you never leave your town, a lot of folks were like, yeesh, like this looks kind of rough. This probably isn't going to be very deep. And then it got out afterwards on Twitter like, oh, by the way, dudes, this is only $25. And everybody went, oh, okay. Oh, so you play as a dude who's in his hometown, and his hometown is getting, and no one can leave their hometown, because reasons. I'm sure there's a reason. And so monsters start to attack, and so you have to defend it. And one of the ways you defend it is with ideas, which is weird, but I'm down.
That.
I
like that.
Yeah, I think it's cool. It just obviously depends on how they execute it.
That's fair.
It's got a cool, cartoonish, but not hand-drawn art style. Like, this isn't Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Fighters or anything, but it's cool. It's coming very soon, and it is inexpensive. I actually cannot wait. Game Freak is known, obviously, for their Pokemon stuff, but they've made other games, and they've made some pretty good stuff. I highly recommend Temba the Badass Elephant. Have you ever played Temba the Badass Elephant?
I have not.
It's another Game Freak game. It is a platformer where you play Rambo, but he's an elephant.
You know what? That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. I mean, it is what it is. They should, but the problem is it's strapped on the Wii U right now. Actually, I think it's on Xbox.
I have the Wii U.
Yeah, is it plugged in?
Oh yeah. No, the kids play the Wii U all the time.
Okay.
Believe it or not, like they love it.
I do believe you. My daughter is the only person that plays the Wii U for us because, believe it or not, the Mario versus Donkey Kong tipping stars game is like her jam. She makes levels nonstop.
I love that.
So yeah, she is all
I'm
in.
Team Maggie for life.
I know you are.
Team Maggie for life.
So, in honor of you, we started taking selfies while we wait for the bus. That is.
I love it.
So, anyway, so I'm burying the lead. Probably in a Nintendo Direct where they announced, Undertale coming to Smash, and more Pokemon details and everything. The biggest announcement is that they announced the Super Nintendo games are coming to Switch, through the Nintendo Switch Online service. At no additional cost, which is not something that I would have predicted. I figured that they were going to bump it up a couple dollars, whatever. They just said, nah, we're just going to throw the games in as a value add. I will read the list, for everyone's benefit. I'll go quick. Here we go. Buckle up. Super Mario World, Super Mario Kart, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past, Super Metroid, Stunt Race FX, Kirby's Dream Land 3, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island, Star Fox, F-Zero, Pilot Wings, Kirby's Dream Course, Brawl Brothers, Breath of Fire, Demon's Crest, Joe and Mag 2, Lost in the Tropics, Super EDF Earth Defense Force, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, Super Puyo Puyo 2, Super Soccer, and Super Tennis. Okay. 20 games.
Dang.
20 games. And 5 of them are among the best video games ever made, full stop. I think we can agree on that, right? Like if we were to
That's fair.
Super Mario World, Link to the Past, Super Metroid, and I mean, even if we ignore everything else, those 3 are a pretty good trifecta. I honestly just assumed that when they started doing SNES games, they were just going to put out like 2 a month, like they had been before. But no, they came out and dropped 20 on us. I have played a bunch of these. Some of them are wonderful, like best games of all time. Some of them, like Brawl Brothers, are not great. With that said, Brawl Brothers is fun if you just want to play a stupid game with your kids. It's
true,
not
yeah.
Final Fight or Rival Turf. It is not.
True.
But it is a.
I don't think I've ever played Rival Turf.
Okay,
But I've
Rival
played Final
Turf.
Fight.
Well, because everybody made a Rival Turf. I mentioned it is not good, but Rival Turf I mentioned because my brother and I rented it and finished it, and we cheesed it because we found out. This is when we determined that cheesing was okay, because it was brutally hard. For us at least. And we found out that if you literally just do air attacks, so jump and kick, and nothing else, you will never take damage in that game. So we referred to it as, for the rest of our lives, we referred to it as the Rival Turf strategy, which is just jump and punch them. Strangely enough, when we started playing Street Fighter, that became not a great idea, because Rival Turf thinking is not great when Ryu can dragon punch you out of the air. But
that's true.
But in Rival Turf, they are not very good at punishing that. So, but Brawl Brothers is just like that. It's a stupid brawling game. Breath of Fire is a pretty good JRPG. It's there. And then, yeah, this is a great collection. Now, the bad news that was not made a part of this announcement is that moving forward, they're not going to be putting out new games every month. They're going to be regular, but not on a schedule. There are some folks that were super disappointed in that. For me, they just gave us 20 games when they were giving us 2 a month. So that, for me, that gives them a 10-month buffer, as far as I'm concerned. And I wasn't, I went months without a game that I gave a crap about before, so I was already waiting 2 or 3 months.
That's
so
fair.
For me, I'm fine. And I also think that it means that they can make them more of an event, because truth be told, if, let's say, Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past wasn't part of this list, let's just pick that one, right? That would be a sick reveal as part of, like, a Nintendo Direct.
Yo.
Whereas if it's just part of a schedule, then that's just like an email.
It's just a thing.
It's a blog post.
Yeah,
Whereas,
it's a news beat.
yeah, like, could you imagine when they eventually put Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3 out, and they can do them at the same time? And, like, can you imagine how you're making eyes at me because because
I love those games,
right,
like, so much.
They're great, but if they were doing 2 a month, they would have to split them up, and then it would just be a blog post. It would be like putting a picture up on Instagram. Who cares? Whereas now they can be like, no, check it out. All 3 Donkey Kong games are added right now. And that's a very different experience. It gives them an opportunity to make these things events. Let's be real.
It's a win. Seriously, it's a win for them to handle it like this.
Could you imagine how fast the eShop will correct? Well, it won't be on the eShop, but, like, eventually they're going to put Final Fantasy 6/3 on this thing. I mean, that's kind of an inevitability, I think.
I hope so. I feel like I shouldn't get my hopes up, but I also hope so.
It feels like an inevitability for me. That's an event. That's not a new, like, that is, you could hold a Nintendo Direct just for that, I think. Because that's a big deal. So that's kind of what I think. With that said, the good news is no additional charge. Mm-hmm. Nintendo, at this point, the Nintendo Switch Online service is $20 a year.
Yes.
You definitely get your money's worth unless you have no interest in playing older games. Like, if your kids are not down with, if they don't play Splatoon online, they don't play Smash online, if they don't do any of that stuff and they're not interested in the older games, then I guess forget about it. But at $20 a year, the collection of Nintendo and now SNES games is worth it by itself, and they're only going to be adding more. I'm a huge fan. Yeah, and I'm slowly going to go through and play all these. I think we're actually going to have a micro podcast as part of our podcast network where I play through all the games and talk about them. Because I don't know if you know, I like podcasts. So
it's for you.
Those are the big announcements. Man, they made so many more. Like, Final Fantasy stuff coming. And did you know Final Fantasy VIII came to the Switch this week while you were gone?
I sure did.
Like, what?
That one I did know about. Yes.
Like, what? And just this morning, they gave a release date for Crystal Chronicles. Did you ever play Crystal Chronicles?
I did.
Did you like it? That's a no. That's a
bit.
no. Okay, that's a no.
A bit.
Okay. We're hype monsters. That's a no, and that's okay.
If it's not a hell yes, it's a no.
Yeah, kinda.
Okay.
So that is another game that my wife is super excited about because we owned it on the GameCube and she very much enjoyed it, and we're probably gonna get it. It's coming out in January. This week, the next time we gather for video games, we're probably gonna talk about a whole bunch of Japanese stuff as the Tokyo Game Show is happening. It's gearing up as we speak. So that's the Nintendo Direct. It was cool, man. Nintendo just came out of nowhere, and just how cool is it that 6 times a year, basically, Nintendo just comes and just wrecks our world with all sorts of cool Nintendo news.
It's true. They are very good at that.
It's so good. All right.
Shouldn't be this, but it is.
So that's the big news stuff. There's other things that happened, obviously, but I don't want to not talk about your experience at PAX West. Because I know you played some games there that were not Mario and Sonic in the Olympics. And I promise that's the last time I'm going to bring that up.
Pain point.
Pain point. Because folks, we're on Skype, and we can see each other. And so when I mentioned it, she gave me a playful "I hate you" face.
Small bit. Small bit.
I'm learning because we've known each other long enough that I know when she says she hates me in a playful way. So you played some games. Tell me. Well, first off, just let's talk about PAX West in general. What was your experience like?
It was weird. It's not normally weird, but there's been some stuff going on in the industry, in the game industry, which we can't get into because it's very it's very heavy.
Yeah.
Very, very heavy. So, it was challenging, but my parents came down from British Columbia.
I saw that. Did they go to the show, or did they
It's actually the third time my parents have been to the show.
Okay.
So that was really fun. It was great having them there. I mean, I had a mostly good time at PAX, aside from the fact that it just felt strange.
Okay. Well, there was heavy stuff happening, like literally while it was going on.
Yes.
Right?
Some big, heavy, scary stuff in the industry that, if you want to know more, you can tweet at me and I can DM you. But I don't feel comfortable getting into it.
Yeah, no, let's not talk about it here. You know what? I knew that all of these things were happening. I didn't know they were all happening overlaid on top of each other because time is a flat circle. So, all right. So let's talk about the good stuff that happened because obviously there was some weight to the universe. But at the end of the day, you did get a chance to play some games.
I did.
So let's talk about some of it.
Okay. Well, let's talk. I want to talk about a handful of them, especially the ones that are, relatively kid and teen friendly.
Sure.
The first game of the show that I ended up seeing was Marvel's Avengers.
Ooh, did you get to play it?
I did. It was a hands-on demo. It's actually my preview of it is going up tomorrow. I'm just polishing it off now because I got sick last week and I just hadn't had a chance. So I'll give you like the TLDR if you don't want to go and read the whole preview. The game is really interesting. The initial loop going through all of the various characters, all of the various heroes rather, as you start off as Thor. You have to learn all of Thor's various abilities and toss a hammer and do the thing, and then you move over to Iron Man, and then you're playing as are you playing as Hulk next? You play as Hulk?
Yeah, I think it's Hulk next. I watched the video.
Is it Cap and then Widow? Yeah, it's Cap and then Widow. Yeah, so Captain America's afterwards, and then you finish off the demo as Black Widow. They all have completely different movesets. They all play completely differently. But what I found to be the most approachable about it is that the foundational skills that you learn, where the button presses are and everything like that all stays the same.
Awesome.
So running and everything like that. So tossing a hammer isn't that different than tossing your shield as Captain America.
Which is cool.
Yeah, exactly. And it was a great cinematic, although incredibly linear introduction to their universe, to their take on the Avengers.
Sure.
I'm curious to see what multiplayer looks like. That's one of the big question marks for me is how's multiplayer co-op going to work, and is it going to be smooth and steady, or is it going to be, a janky mess? I'm hoping it's going to be smooth and steady, but I don't have any more information on it at this time. But all in all, it was a really solid demo. Very enjoyable. Gameplay was fast. It was violent, but it wasn't bloody. So
Like an MCU movie.
yeah, exactly. So it was a solid T rating on this one. I don't think it has an rating yet, but I think it's going to earn a T.
Yeah, I think it's going to earn that T rating, kind of like Destiny does. Like Destiny, really earns it. Like, I think it maybe dodges an M rating with Destiny, but with that one,
it's the same way.
Yeah,
right.
oh, yeah.
Apex Legends is the same way. It just barely skirts into the T.
Yeah.
So
they got there and we're like, so what do I got to do? What do I got to do? What do I got to cut out of this? Which is fine. I get that. They do the same thing with Marvel movies. Let's be real.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So you saw the original reveal at E3.
I did. Yes. I was there for the reveal.
Yes, you were. So, and the general response at E3 was one of, like, generally people were kind of underwhelmed.
Yeah,
Where are you at?
As a game to watch, it wasn't that exciting.
Yep.
But as a game to play, putting your hands on the demo, because it's the same demo that you saw, that had the footage released or whatever post E3. It's the same thing, but it's interactive.
Sure.
So I think that's what made it a little more interesting to me, because when I sat there, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be a good game one day. Right now, it doesn't seem that interesting. Yeah. It's not doing anything innovative.
Sure.
But getting my hands on it was a lot different. And it definitely was like, okay, if they continue down this line and they make sure they open things up just a little bit, you know me, I don't really like open world games. I definitely want it to be somewhat linear so that I know where I'm going and what I should be doing to deal with the story. But so yeah, it was a solid game. It was a solid demo.
Great. That's I'm happy to hear that. I mean, so hearing, reading previews and watching previews coming out of PAX where people were finally playing it, and also Gamescom because there were some people playing it there. I was relieved, and I think there were a lot of fans that were angry. I mean, admittedly, there's a lot of fans angry about everything all the time, but I think a lot of folks put really high expectations on this game. And exactly. I think you and I are kind of in the same place. In that, listen, if you mean to tell me that I will get Marvel Ultimate Alliance as a 3D action game where I can, fine. Like, I don't think this game needs to be a 10 in order to be worth my time.
Make it an 8, an 8.5. That's a perfectly excellent game. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to live up to its own hype, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, absolutely. So few things actually can.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you hop on the hype train, you're doomed. Because that hype train, if you ride it all the way to the end,
well,
man.
As a hype elemental, which is me, I think that it is entirely possible to, and I try and teach people about this, is that it is perfectly okay to be super excited and think things are going to be awesome, and then when you get there and they're not super awesome, you just go, cool, but it was good, and then you move on.
Sure, yeah, and that's great. And if you can do that, if you can build that into your code and the way that you approach playing games that have been massively hyped, I mean, shoot, I don't know if Outer Worlds is going to be as amazing as I'm hoping it'll be, but I'm still on board.
Yeah.
I'm still going to play it.
Yeah, exactly. It's the same. I mean, that's welcome. I mean, that's how I have to operate because I get excited about everything. I know, me too. And I'm okay with it not being freaking bananas. But how about this? So they're starting with the 5 core Avengers, and then they're going to be adding more.
Yes, and they're all free.
And they're all going to be free.
All of
So you mean to tell me that eventually I'm going to get to play as Vision in one of those Warzone levels?
I mean, I hope so.
I mean,
I don't have any more information than you do, but
Yeah.
I mean that's
okay.
definitely a possibility.
Given an infinite amount of time, and they put out superheroes over time,
Popular.
I think. I think Vision now. Vision is like a guy that people know who he is. Before Age of Ultron, I would have had my doubts, but now I have a feeling I'm gonna get to play as Vision in this game, and frankly, it could be a 5. And as long as I get to play as Vision, I'm okay.
I'll pump back up to an 8 for you.
Yeah, it immediately does, and I think that's the thing that a lot of folks miss about like review scores is that most outlets that score games, like when they get into like the 6s and the 5s and the 7s, they're like, listen, it's not broken or necessarily bad. It's just there, and it could very well resonate.
These kinds of games, yeah. If you like these style of games, it could be that you're going to love this. It just turned out not to resonate for that particular reviewer.
How about, like,
that's a completely different conversation about scoring and reviews, but. So it was a solid demo, though. I think that game, when it comes out, is going to be like an 8 and 8.5, which is great. And I hate being the kind of person where I'm putting review scores on things that I've only seen This is pre-alpha, by the way. Yeah. This is a pre-alpha demo. It could be that the game that we get is completely different, that it is completely bonkers and amazing and totally off the wall, and I would be thrilled to pieces. And I would love to eat these words in May of 2020.
You think it's going to come out in May?
I know it's coming out in May. I
mean, they haven't delayed it yet, but you think they're not going to delay it?
I mean, they might. I don't know. I think that would end up going bad for their quarter. So you have to remember that.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna hit at the beginning of their Q2, 1, 2, 1. No, not 1. Could be 2 or 3. I don't remember. But it hits at the beginning of a quarter for them. Either at the beginning or the end of a quarter.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, you got to think about it in terms of finances. So it was a solid demo. I'm looking forward to the game still. I can't wait to see what it becomes. Another solid T-rated game that I saw was Private Divisions, which is the, double, like the mid-tier, high-end indie label coming out of Take-Two Games. They put together this excellent game called Disintegration. And Disintegration, I don't know if you saw the Gamescom trailer for it, but it is really interesting.
Is that the one where you're the dude in the helicopter?
Yeah, so you're on this like hover bike essentially, and you're hanging out, and with one of your hands you are directing your troops, and with the other hand you are shooting a gun. And you are running around and you are capturing points, and you are, it's essentially like capture the flag. That was the mode I ended up playing, was like capture the flag. It was a control. I think it was a control point thing where I had to move one thing to another control point. It was really interesting. So fast-paced game, different archetypes that you'll be able to play as. Depending on what your play style is, you can play as a variety of different teams. I favored the, heavy DPS team. I played a little bit of the healing team, and I played some of the control team. So I got a little bit of everything when I was playing Disintegration.
Okay.
Really, really, another really solid game.
That game came out of nowhere.
Beautiful. It's absolutely friggin' gorgeous. I think that this game is going to make waves. I really do, because it's way different than anything I've ever played. I've never played a first-person shooter that is also tactical and third-person at the same time. It's a little bonkers. I've played tactical shooters before. I've played first-person shooters before, but I've never played them smashed into the same game.
Sure. That sounds great.
Yeah,
it came out of freaking
really
nowhere.
Fun. Yeah, and it did come out of nowhere, and it was really, really fun.
Okay, so that's Disintegration from Private Division.
Private Division.
They do good work.
They do. Like, they seriously do. Private Division is excellent. And the staff at Private Division, they're just what else did I play? Oh, I checked out the first look at Kerbal Space Program 2.
What'd you
So
think?
Kerbal 2 is really pretty. It's very pretty. They did a lot of quality of life upgrades to the
Sure.
user interface. They did a lot of changes to the way that they onboard players for the game to make it easier for players to really get into it. I mean, lots of different mechanical changes. I think, where did I end up writing this down? I think I wrote it down on my phone, actually. Let me pull up my notes for Kerbal. Because I was having so much fun with Kerbal while I was watching it. Oh, here we go. Yeah. So, rating is still pending. It's still very silly. The Kerbals are very silly. There are new parts, new tools, new tech. There's color customization. There is a way for you to do custom camera work and custom audio to record your launches.
Okay, that's going to be all over TikTok.
Absolutely. You can also plan your spaceship and put it together in modules before actually inserting the whole thing onto your bigger spaceship,
Okay, that's awesome.
which is very cool. It is supposed to be less intimidating for newcomers. Accessibility is their primary concern. They really, really, really want new people to not look at this and be like, okay, I know this is literal rocket science, but I want to build a rocket ship too. They also introduced colonies. So you can build colonies pretty much anywhere that you can end up landing. And they have their own physics challenges for establishing these colonies. You can unlock the ability to build new ships, including interstellar ships, and you can explore uncharted technologies and territories. So
they
made
added
it
some
kind of
sci-fi.
like this yeah. So they added some sci-fi. It's solid. Like I keep saying solid, but like I haven't seen anything. We haven't talked about my wow factor yet. It was a solid game.
Sure.
Really, really solid.
I think
And I'm looking forward to it because I think the kids are going to love it.
I think making it more accessible was a really good a really good choice, because the first game was great, but I know personally more than a dozen people who started playing and bounced off because it was so weird.
Yeah.
So hard to get into it. And part of that, and we talked about it when it was announced, was that it was in early access, so a lot of people's first experience with it was when it was not finished. And our guess is that this is not going to be unfinished.
No.
So I'm stoked. This is going to be great.
It's going to be really, really fun for the kids, especially because I know that my kids love the original Kerbal and they just love tinkering and doing their own things. So this should make it a lot easier for players like Vivian to come in and start tinkering and figuring out science on her own instead of waiting for her big brothers to show her.
Yeah.
So that's Kerbal. I know another game that you were really interested in was Spiritfarer.
Spiritfarer, we were, in fact.
We were very interested in this game that deals with a very challenging topic of death.
Yep.
It was beautiful.
Okay.
It was absolutely beautiful.
So was
everything
it a demo or?
Yeah. So I ended up getting behind. I did. I ended up getting to play it. Played for 20 minutes, I think.
Okay.
My mom came to that appointment with me. She ended up sitting there and marveling at the animations and how beautiful the atmosphere was, and how even when talking about death, they're talking about it in a way that's really accessible for anyone. So if you've never experienced someone dying, this is the kind of game that you would sit down and play with your kid if their grandparent were dying or has passed away or whatever. It's that kind of accessible.
Okay.
And I think that this is going to be a very important game.
Okay. Wow. I mean, that's pretty impressive to get that from a 20-minute demo.
I think it's going to be a very, very important game. I'm really looking forward to the full game coming out because I think that this is going to be the kind of game that I'd want to play on stream and have that conversation, like maybe bring our very lovely friend, Dr. Rachel Coward, on so we can have that conversation about death and everything like that, like how to have that conversation with your kids.
Yeah.
So.
No, I'm sure she will.
I'm
sure she would love to do that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Also, super jealous that you saw her and I didn't.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? Oh.
I did not.
Oh,
I remember how I said PAX was really weird. PAX was really weird.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
Never
didn't
mind
get
that.
I didn't get the opportunity to see her. I wanted to, but I didn't get the opportunity to.
Well, I do know. I mean, it was hard for me to see her at PAX East because she was running around like a crazy
Is
person. She's
is
mad busy. Also, you were mad busy. All right, so that's Spiritfarer.
that
Um,
Spiritfarer.
Anything else? How
I
about
took a
one
look
more?
at Dauntless. I took a look at Dauntless on Switch.
Okay.
Dauntless is relatively new still. It was in early access for a long
Mm-hmm.
time, but it launched into full release. I think it was in March,
Yeah.
April, something like
Yep.
that.
It's still coming to Switch, but
Pretty
man.
cool. It
Yeah.
is. It is. It's interesting on Switch. I like it better on PC, but that's
Sure.
preference. And the final game that I want to talk about and spend a little bit of time with is Hot Shot Burn. So, Hot Shot Burn is this bonkers arena brawler that is a little bit violent and very, very fast paced.
Okay.
So, you play it with 4 people. It's couch co-op. And the goal and the aim of the game is to be the last one standing and to eat nachos, and it's just this bombastic, strange thing that yeah, so you gotta run around, be the last one standing, and eat all the nachos.
Huh. Okay.
And the levels are weird, and they have different physics challenges that you have to grapple with in order to come out on top. And yeah, it's got chops. It's got a lot of chops. What did we say it was gonna replace, Mike? Towerfall. That's what it was. Yeah, it feels like this is a Towerfall Slayer.
Okay. I brought up a video of somebody playing it because apparently it's on Steam right now.
Yeah, it is.
And so it's kind of like a twin stick shooter.
Yeah.
And eating nachos is important.
Eating nachos is part of this daily
I
daily
think
breakfast.
I'm disappointed. I will admit that I am disappointed in some of the blood, but I mean I think that's just kind of unavoidable in some cases. But
Yeah, like I
it's
said, it's
cartoony and
violent.
stupid.
It reminds me a lot of like the cartoons that would come on at like 7 or 8 o'clock at night on Cartoon Network.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Um,
it definitely gives that feel.
That's what it reminds me of. So it's for teens, like
Yeah.
older teens for sure. This is not for little kids, unfortunately, because it is kind of bloody, but it's really fun,
Well,
like
yeah.
ridiculously fun. Like it has no business being as fun as it is.
I bet. I mean, one of the characters is apparently a cactus.
Yes.
That sounds good to me. That sounds good.
Yeah.
So that's Hot Shot Burn. So it's available on Steam right now. And it is, it's very well rated. And so it's coming to everything.
I think
just
it's coming
Switch?
to everything.
All right. It was on Steam. And apparently Kotaku really likes it.
Oh yeah,
So
it's
sounds like
very
a party
good
game kind of group.
Yeah.
Got a party game kind of feel.
It is a party game kind of feel, but it's a party game that you play with your buddies, not with your kids,
I get it.
unless your kids are older.
I get that. So there we go. That's PAX West.
That's PAX West. That was my highlights of PAX West.
Yeah. So
Good stuff.
that sounds like that sounds like outside of the fact that you get to see your mom, which is very cool.
Yeah.
I saw pictures and holy crap, that's definitely your mom. Oh, night Maggie.
Night, Maggie.
It's bedtime.
And yes, my mother definitely. We
Yeah.
definitely look.
I was
much
like,
so
holy
alike.
crap, check it out. That's Amanda's mom. You didn't even have to tell me, really. I figured I would have figured it out pretty quickly.
We look very, very similar. I
so-
look even more similar to her twin.
Mom has a twin?
Mhm.
Whoa. Okay, cool. Twins are super common, really, in the universe, now that the world is smaller. But I'm always like, whoa, cool. So, yeah, that's PAX West. I wish I was there. But I'm going to my own little convention. I know, but we would have been so busy, we would have seen each other for 3 minutes.
Would have high-fived and maybe had dinner.
High five and have dinner, yes. We'll do that at PAX East next year. And Toy Fair. But I'm going to my own convention, and I can't wait because this probably should have been in housekeeping, but Linda and I will be at the Boston Festival of Independent Games
Wonderful.
Not tomorrow, because tomorrow is Thursday. On Saturday.
Wonderful.
And Engage Family Gaming will be presenting the Best Family Game Award.
Oh, I'm so excited for you.
Also, I'm a judge, but I'm always a judge, so that's not really. But we're actually presenting an award, one of the figgies, at the end. So I get to make a cool speech or whatever. And so that's a pretty big deal. So we'll be able to talk about that the next time we get together, because folks, this has been episode 196 of the Engaged Family Gaming Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed listening as much as Amanda and I enjoyed recording, which is a lot. I'm setting the bar really high. So I have one favor to ask of everybody. We're getting close to episode 200, which is crazy. Some small spoilers. We're going to be making some format changes. Nothing crazy. Amanda is not leaving.
No. Can't get rid of me.
I'm aware of.
Stay forever.
But we are, but we're going to be, changing things up, having some new music. It's going to be a wild time. But what I would love is, you got 4 weeks until episode 200. And I would love if you would, in between now and then, send via Twitter or Facebook through our Facebook page your thoughts, maybe, your favorite Engaged Family Gaming Podcast memory. I have already spoken to some of our past guests, like the Professor and She Who Needs No Title, and several other of our longtime guests. We're going to have a wild party, and that's going to kick off a string of guests, some of whom will be returning, like our good friend Khalif Adams from Spawn on Me, and, obviously my BFF, Dr. Rachel Cowart, will be back probably several times, among other people. So it's going to be a wild ride after episode 200. So we hope you guys will enjoy as we get there, and then celebrate with us. Yeah, that's it. It's about to be a birthday party.
It is.
But until then, folks, you have yourself a wonderful week. We will see you next time. And don't forget to get your family game on. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Engage, a family gaming podcast.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening. Tune in next week.
Hi everyone, this is Steven Dutzman. I'm the host of this podcast. Engaged Family Gaming is supported on Patreon. So if you like what we do and have $1 to spare, head on over to patreon.com/engagedfamilygaming and pledge. Every dollar helps.